Have you ever stared at your phone, hoping for a message that never comes? Why does it feel like you're always the one reaching out, trying to keep the conversation alive? What if the silence you're hearing isn't accidental? What if it's a powerful, silent message you've been missing all along? Every day, millions of men find themselves checking their phones, staring at screens, waiting for a message that never arrives. They scroll through old texts, reread memories, and wish to feel noticed, remembered and seen again. If you've ever wondered why she doesn't message anymore, why you're always the one initiating, or why the connection you once had now feels distant, you're not alone. And more importantly, you are not crazy. What you're experiencing is not just frustration or confusion. It's the slow death of emotional reciprocity, the gradual erosion of connection that no one ever warned you about. You're in the midst of something that many others have silently faced, and today, you're going to understand exactly why it happens, what it really means, and most crucially, what you can do about it. A call to action. Before we dive deeper, if this message resonates with you, if it gives you the clarity, power, and relief you need, consider supporting this channel. By doing so, you're not just helping yourself. You're helping thousands of men who are stuck in the same loop, silently suffering, needing the same truth. Your support allows us to continue building a space where men get the insight, direction, and strength they truly deserve. The power of initiating, what her silence really means. If you're always the one reaching out, always the one initiating, and always the one holding conversations together, that means something. It is not random. It is not forgetfulness. It is not just how she is. When she doesn't call, when she doesn't text, when she slowly fades into silence, it's not an accident, it's a decision. People don't forget what they value. No one abandons what they cherish. Stop telling yourself that she's just overwhelmed, busy, or going through something. Because here's the truth. No one is too busy for what they prioritize. Life doesn't get so loud that love goes mute. When someone truly wants to stay connected, they find a way, not an excuse. Understanding the silence, more than just absence. Her silence is not just background noise, it's a headline, and it's time you started reading it. Silence in a relationship isn't just a blank space, it isn't harmless nor neutral. It's not simply the lack of messages or calls, it's a message in itself. Every unanswered text, every ignored call, and every time she likes a post but leaves your message unread, that silence speaks directly to you. Not with words, but through actions. Actions speak louder than words, and more than anything, actions reveal the truth. When she stops replying, it isn't because she suddenly forgot how to communicate. When her tone shifts from warmth to cold distance, when the emojis stop, when the replies get shorter, drier, and less frequent, it's not because she ran out of things to say, it's because she no longer feels motivated to say them. As we continue to unpack the emotional distance that silence creates, remember that this is not just about her response or lack thereof. It's about understanding the truth behind her actions and recognizing when emotional reciprocity is fading. If you pay attention to these signs, you'll stop wondering where things went wrong, and you'll gain the clarity you need to move forward. Keep watching, and let's dive deeper into what these emotional signals truly mean. As we've explored before, silence in a relationship isn't just absence, it's full of meaning. Now let's dive deeper into the emotional shift that silence can create, and how it begins to define the space between two people. Emotional disengagement, the shift you can't ignore. She no longer feels the need to stay emotionally connected, because emotionally she's already pulling away. This silence isn't passive. It's not soft or unintentional. It's a conscious shift, a choice to disconnect. It's emotional disengagement in its purest form. And it doesn't happen in a single moment. It's a decision made over time. The longer you ignore this change, convincing yourself it means nothing, the deeper you entangle your self-worth with her absence. You start to believe that if you try just a bit harder, send the perfect message, or wait a little longer, she'll come back around. But what you're really doing is allowing someone else's silence to define your value. You start rationalizing, making excuses for her. You tell yourself that she's just tired, busy, or stressed. You give her every benefit of the doubt because the truth that she's emotionally pulled away, feels too painful to face. But deep inside, you know. You feel it. Every time you send a message and wait in silence, every time you reach out and get nothing in return, that pit in your stomach. That's your intuition trying to wake you up. Listening to the truth. Why you need to hear what silence is saying. Unless you start listening to it, unless you begin to recognize that her silence is actually loud with intention, you will stay trapped in this emotional loop. You'll keep giving more while receiving less. You'll keep proving your loyalty to someone who no longer asks for it. You'll keep handing over your power to someone who doesn't even realize they're holding. This is not about blame, it's about recognition. It's about stepping out of the fog of emotional denial and into the clarity of reality. Because when someone truly cares, you feel it. And when they stop caring, you feel that too. But one feeling gives you peace, while the other brings pain. One tells you that you're valued, the other teaches you where you no longer belong. Her silence is not cruel, it's clear. The question is, will you keep ignoring it, or will you finally accept it for what it is and take your power back? Trusting your intuition. The power in listening to yourself. Every time you say to yourself, she's probably just busy, you're not giving her the benefit of the doubt. You're betraying your own inner truth. You're pushing down that quiet voice inside that's already telling you something isn't right. Do you know what that voice is? It's your intuition, your emotional radar. And every time you ignore it, you're not being noble or understanding. You're abandoning yourself. Let's get something straight. People make time for what they care about. No one forgets someone they genuinely want in their life. And yet, you find yourself constantly excusing her lack of presence. You convince yourself she's just overwhelmed with work, that she'll come around when things calm down, that she'll remember the connection you shared. But deep down, you know better. You feel it in the silence. You see it in her fading attention, and in the way your name no longer lights her up the way it used to. Now that you understand the true meaning behind silence and emotional disengagement, it's time to reflect on your own relationship and your emotional well-being. Recognizing these patterns will not only help you avoid emotional pain, but also empower you to take back your power and move forward with clarity. As we continue, let's explore how to reclaim your emotional strength and stop letting someone else's absence define you. As we've discussed, emotional disconnect can feel like a slow, suffocating cycle where you keep trying harder, only to feel more drained and unseen. But what happens when that cycle deepens and you're left stuck in a loop of denial? Breaking free from the cycle of denial. And still, you turn away from the truth. The truth hurts more than the comforting fantasy you've built to avoid it. But what does that do to you? It creates a slow, suffocating loop of denial, a cycle that may have started innocently enough, thinking she'll call tomorrow. But over time, this belief transforms into something toxic. You convince yourself, if I just remind her how much I care, she'll come back. And so, you keep trying. You double your efforts. You send longer texts, try to be funnier, kinder, more patient. You offer her more of yourself, thinking that eventually she'll remember how it used to be, but she doesn't, because deep down, she's already emotionally gone. And yet, here you are, stuck, trying harder, hoping louder, giving more of yourself. What you're really doing is negotiating your value. You're trying to prove that you're worth noticing again, that you're still someone she should care about. But here's the harsh reality. Love isn't something you should have to negotiate. Your worth isn't something that should need to be proven repeatedly to someone who no longer chooses to see it. Each time you wait for her to change, to message, first or to come back, you're not holding out hope. You're sacrificing your peace. You're spending your emotional currency on someone who's no longer investing back into the connection. The cost of emotional investment without reciprocity. And slowly but surely you start to lose yourself. Your confidence begins to fade. Your mind becomes a battlefield filled with what-ifs and maybes. And as you spiral, you begin to confuse that chaos for love when it's anything but. That's not love. What you're experiencing is emotional starvation. It's self-abandonment in its rawest form. True love does not leave you chasing. It doesn't make you feel invisible or unworthy. It doesn't require you to constantly beg for basic recognition. Real love is reciprocal. It flows both ways. It uplifts both people. If you're the only one keeping the connection alive, then it's already dead. You're not in a relationship. You're in a waiting room, hoping for someone to walk through a door they've already closed. And the longer you justify indifference, the longer you stay in that waiting room, holding on to something that no longer exists. Taking back your power and moving forward. But the moment you stop making excuses for her behavior, that's when the healing begins. That's when you start to take your power back. Because the truth is this: you deserve someone who doesn't make you guess how they feel. You deserve effort without asking. You deserve presence without pleading. You deserve peace, not a constant battle inside your mind. Love is reciprocal, or it isn't love at all. At its core, love is not complicated. It's not a strategy, it's not a game. It's not something you have to chase, decode, or fight for every day. Real love is consistent. It shows up, not just when it's convenient, not just on the good days, but always. It checks in, it pays attention, it cares openly, honestly, and without being asked. Anxiety versus love. If you find yourself constantly analyzing her tone, the timing of her responses, or wondering if you're too much for simply wanting to talk, that's not love. That's anxiety. And love should never feel like anxiety. It should never make you second-guess your place in someone's life. Love is clear. You don't have to earn it every day. You don't have to fight to keep it alive. It breathes with both of you. It's mutual, or it's not love at all. And if you're the only one giving, the only one reaching out, the only one trying to hold everything together, then what you have is not love. It's attachment. Recognizing the difference between love and attachment is crucial. When someone truly cares, their actions speak clearly. They don't make you question your worth, and they don't keep you stuck in a cycle of emotional turmoil. In the next part, we'll explore how to break free from these emotional patterns and start embracing relationships that are truly fulfilling. Stay tuned. We've just discussed how attachment can keep you trapped in an emotional loop, constantly giving more while receiving less. Now let's look at what happens when that attachment turns toxic and how you can finally break free from it. Attachment alone won't bring you peace. Attachment alone won't bring you happiness. It won't bring you peace. So ask yourself this question: does she make you feel safe? Does she make you feel wanted, truly seen? When someone values you, you feel it, not just through words, but through their actions. They remember the small things. They show up when it matters. They create space for you in their life, not just when it's easy, but especially when it's hard. But if you feel like you're walking on eggshells, wondering whether your message will annoy her, or if she'll even reply, if you feel more like a burden than a priority, then something is off, and it's not your expectations. It's her effort. You are not wrong for wanting consistency. You are not clingy for craving closeness. You are not needy for needing to feel connected. Those are human needs, emotional needs. And any relationship that shames you for having those needs is one that doesn't deserve you. When silence becomes the only answer, real love doesn't make you question where you stand. It doesn't make you guess if you're enough. It doesn't treat your presence like it's disposable. And it sure doesn't turn cold without explanation. When someone starts to fade emotionally, you can feel it. You can see it in the delayed replies, the distracted conversations, and the energy that used to be there but is slowly, silently fading away. It's okay to notice that. In fact, it's necessary, because ignoring that shift doesn't make it go away. It just leaves you stuck trying to hold together something she's already let go of. You are not an afterthought. You are not a backup plan. You are not someone who deserves to wait in silence, hoping to be remembered. You deserve more than silence. You are someone who deserves to feel loved out loud every single day. Not because you beg for it, but because the right person won't let you doubt it for even a second. So if her energy has changed, believe it. If her effort has disappeared, accept it. If she once made you feel chosen, but now makes you feel tolerated, that's not love anymore, and that doesn't mean you're not worthy of love. It simply means you're growing out of something that no longer fits you. It means you're learning. what real love looks like. And it means that the next time love finds you, you'll recognize it, and you won't settle for anything less. Chasing a ghost of the past. But why do you keep going back? You keep going back to her, not because she still shows you love, not because she's consistent, and not because things are better now. You go back because you're chasing a memory. You're chasing a version of her that no longer exists. The version that once looked at you like you were her world. That version of her, the one who smiled at your texts, laughed at your dumb jokes. The one who used to send you good morning messages before her day even started. She's gone. And the longer you keep chasing that memory, the longer you stay stuck in a place where love is no longer alive. Now that you understand the impact of holding on to a love that no longer serves you, it's time to reflect on your own relationships and what you truly deserve. As we move forward, let's take a deeper dive into how you can start breaking free from these toxic patterns and make space for real, reciprocal love. The choice to step forward into the life you deserve starts with you. As we've explored, the hardest part of letting go is realizing you're not holding on to who they are now, but who they used to be, the version of them that once made you. Feel seen, appreciated, and important. But what happens when the person you're in love with is no longer the person standing in front of you, clinging to the past, the danger of holding on? That's who you're really holding on to. You're not in love with the present version of her. You're in love with who she used to be, the woman who once made you feel truly seen, valued, and important. That connection you felt in the beginning, it felt real. It felt like something you could trust and rely on. And losing that version of her feels like losing a part of yourself. Naturally, you want to get it back. You think that if you try harder, if you're more understanding, more patient, more forgiving, she'll return to the person she once was. She'll become her true self again. But here's the truth. People change. And sometimes they leave emotionally long before they leave physically. Her body might still be there. She might still answer your texts occasionally, share a meme, or give you just enough to keep you holding on. But emotionally, she's already checked out. She's drifted, not in a dramatic exit, but in small, subtle steps. One missed call at a time, one dry response at a time, until one day you're looking at the same person, but it feels like talking to a stranger. And you feel it, you sense it, the emotional withdrawal. Why your efforts are holding you back. Instead of walking away, though, you double down. You convince yourself that you can fix it. This is just a phase, you think. You believe that the love you once had is still there, buried somewhere underneath the silence. But the harder you try to resurrect the past, the more you exhaust yourself in the present. You keep investing energy into someone who's no longer investing in you. What's worse is that you start believing that this version of the relationship is all you deserve. That's the danger. You start confusing effort with worth. You think that if you just do more, give more, you'll be worthy of the love you once had. But what you don't realize is that you're not only chasing someone who's changed, you're slowly changing yourself in the process. You begin abandoning your own needs, your peace, your standards, just to keep them from walking further away. But what you need to realize is this: chasing the memory of someone is the fastest way to lose yourself. The more you hold on to who she was, the more you neglect who you are becoming. The cycle of self-abandonment, protecting your peace, the stronger. Your grip on the past, the more your future slips away. You can't grow while clinging to someone who's shrinking away from you. This isn't about blame, it's about recognizing the truth. She may not even be aware of how much she's changed. She might not have meant to hurt you, but her actions or silence have already done that. And now it's your job, not hers, to draw the line. Not to punish her, but to protect yourself. To stop showing loyalty to a version of her that doesn't exist anymore. The moment you realize this, everything changes. You stop begging. You stop checking your phone every hour, obsessing over when she'll message you back. You stop replaying conversations in your mind, wondering what you could have said or done differently, taking back your power. Now you have the clarity to stop chasing after something that no longer exists. By accepting that she's no longer the person you fell in love with, you open the door for healing and personal growth. You begin to reclaim your emotional strength. No more holding on to someone who's already let go of you. As we continue this journey, let's take a look at how you can start rebuilding your sense of self-worth and emotional stability. The next step is about understanding that real love never requires you to chase after it. As we've discussed, the deeper you get into a one-sided relationship, the more you start compromising your own needs and values just to keep the connection alive. But what happens when you finally begin to see the truth? The awakening, rediscovering your self-respect. And then something clicks. You start remembering who you were before you began compromising so much of yourself just to keep her interested. You realize that the man you were, the one with self-respect, is the man you need to return to. When you're in a one-sided relationship where you're the only one reaching out, the only one caring, the only one trying, there's only one way out that leads to peace. That way isn't through more texts, more apologies, or more effort. It's not about being endlessly understanding or patient to the point where your needs no longer matter. It's not even about finding closure, because chances are she's not going to offer it. The way out is through self-respect. Self-respect, the key to reclaiming your power. Self-respect isn't just a buzzword. It's not something only strong men talk about. It's the one thing that prevents you from losing yourself while trying to keep someone else. It's the force that reminds you, I matter. My feelings matter, my effort has value, my time is sacred. When you respect yourself, you stop chasing people who don't care if you're gone. You stop offering your heart to someone who only shows up when it's convenient for them. Most importantly, you stop negotiating your worth based on how someone else sees you. The moment you stop trying to convince her to stay, to reply, to remember, you is the moment you begin to reclaim your value. Reclaiming your power, the first step to healing. That power you gave away by waiting on texts that never came back. You take it back. That confidence you lost while trying to figure out why she changed, you rebuild it. The sense of peace you traded for uncertainty. You earn it back day by day, boundary by boundary. When you stop texting first just to feel noticed, you begin noticing yourself again. You start seeing yourself as someone worth showing up for. You stop being the man who lowers his standards just to be tolerated. Instead, you become the man who raises his expectations because he knows he deserves more. Embracing a new mindset, everything changes. And here's what happens when you step into that mindset. Everything changes. Not instantly, not easily, but completely. You stop losing sleep over someone who doesn't lose a second of theirs for you. You stop feeling guilty for wanting love to be returned the same way you give it. You start feeling solid, rooted in who you are, grounded in your value, and unwilling to compromise it for momentary affection. The weight that's been sitting on your chest, the one that makes you feel like you're not enough, like you're too much, or that you're always doing something wrong, begins to lift. This shift in perspective isn't just about feeling better. It's about reclaiming the life you deserve. You deserve love that's mutual, that nourishes your soul, not a connection that drains your energy. In the next part, let's explore how to set boundaries that protect your self-respect and create the space for real love to flourish. As we've explored, stepping away from a relationship doesn't mean giving up. It means reclaiming your self-respect and moving forward into a life of value and purpose. The power of walking away. It's not because she changed, but because you did. Self-respect isn't about walking away in anger. It's about walking away because you finally remember who you are. You stop being the backup plan, the emotional crutch, the placeholder. Instead, you begin to set the standard for how you deserve to be treated. It might feel lonely at first and it might hurt. Letting go always does. But let's be clear. The pain of letting go is nothing compared to the pain of staying somewhere you're not valued. And once you let go, after the silence, the withdrawal, and the doubt, you'll find a peace that's unmatched. This peace isn't something anyone else can give you. It's the peace that comes from knowing you're no longer begging to be loved. Because let's face it, the one person who truly needs your attention, your effort, your loyalty is you. When you start giving yourself the validation, effort, and consistency you've been waiting for from her, you stop depending on anyone else to define your worth. You stop asking for crumbs and start setting a table worthy of the man you're becoming. Self-respect is the key to freedom. Here's the powerful realization: self-respect never chases, it never pleads, it never waits in silence for someone to finally recognize its value. It walks away, not because it's bitter, but because it understands. The difference between love and emotional starvation. Ask yourself, are you ready to stop trying to be enough for someone who doesn't even try to keep you? Are you ready to start being enough for yourself? Because the second you say yes, that's when your real life begins. That's when you stop surviving love and start living it. A life of purpose and freedom awaits. From this moment on, you have two options. You can keep chasing silence, wondering why it hurts, or you can walk away from those who can't see your worth and start healing. The first option will keep you stuck in the past, forever yearning for a love that no longer exists. But the second option, it sets you free. No one is coming to rescue you from her distance. No one is going to send that perfect text that finally explains it all. Why? Because it already makes sense. The truth is simple. She doesn't care the way she used to, and that's all the closure you'll ever need. You don't need to be chosen to be valuable. You don't need to be noticed to be worthy. The longer you wait for someone to give you what you deserve, the more time you waste from living as the man you were always meant to be. Final thoughts. If this message resonated with you, if it hit your heart in a way that made you sit up straighter, then drop a comment below. Unstoppable. Let me know you're on this journey, that you didn't just watch, but you woke up. And if you want more messages like this, messages that don't sugarcoat, that speak the truth plainly, and that help you grow into the man you were always meant to be, then support this channel by hitting the subscribe button. Thank you for watching.